The dating world can be like a shark tank, scary, intimidating, but we don't want you to worry because there are plenty of fish out there in the sea. So how do you know which guys to throw back and which ones to reel in? Well, relationship expert and psychotherapist Kimberly Moffit is here to tell us about the 6 types of guys that you need to avoid at all costs. Thanks for coming in, Kimberly.
Thank you so much for having me.
So only 6 types?
Well, these are the most extreme types of guys, and as you know, I'm a psychotherapist in Toronto, and in my practice, I've worked with so many women, and I've watched these women make the same mistakes over and over and over again, and it seems that it all boils down to these 6 kind of character types. So I've made it easy for all of you ladies and made a cheat sheet
Oh, good.
so that if you see any warning signs, you can kind of run away as fast as you can.
What is it about the bad boys that draws women?
Well, I think initially women are attracted to the confidence of a bad boy because he's suave and he's personable, and even though he does bad things, he kind of gets away with it because he's so cute, and he always keeps us coming back for more. So there's an element of that unavailability that women just tend to like.
Okay, well, we're going to start. The first type of guy to avoid is the playboy, ladies.
Right, so the playboy is notorious. He's flirtatious, he's suave, he's charming, and initially women are attracted to his confidence, but the problem is that he makes you feel like $1 million, but he also makes a lot of other women feel like they're $1 million as well. So you have to be really careful. Eventually though, his charming ways will catch up to him, and usually it ends up not being a good situation. So I would try to avoid this type of guy at all costs.
All right, so are there any warning signs that women can pay attention to before they get too involved in someone like this? Maybe sometimes it's more difficult to realize, oh, I am with the playboy. I didn't know I was with the playboy, but this is who he is.
Exactly. Well, I think one of the main things is his availability. So the playboy is notorious for wanting you when he wants you. So you'll get a random text or a phone call that seems very exciting and it entices you, but when you really need him for something like a Thanksgiving dinner or an event with family, he may be unavailable, and maybe that's to pursue one of his other romantic interests.
All right, here's a dangerous one, the big spender, because what woman wouldn't be turned on by a guy who spends a lot of money on them?
Exactly. So the big spender is always charming at first because he's buying you all kinds of fun things, dresses, purses, gifts, and all of the extravagant things of life. He also does this for himself, so he may drive a really nice car, have a really nice watch, so he appears very wealthy and very successful. But I have to say that oftentimes overspending on things is a way to cover up something that's actually not so nice on the underneath, and people like this can actually be quite heavily in debt because he might be overspending far more than what he's able to.
Could that also be a sign of insecurity?
Absolutely. And this happens all the time. People use monetary things to cover up what's really inside, and he wants to appear like, you know, Prince Charming, but it's just because he's insecure of who he is as a person.
Now here's one that might take a little while for you to realize, that the commitment phobe.
Yes. So the commitment phobe is the type of guy that really seems like he wants to be with you, but then he unexpectedly breaks up with you at Christmas or Valentine's Day or your birthday or any time where it comes time to give you a gift or offer any type of commitment, like a card or really nice, kind words.
He doesn't want to take the relationship to the next level.
No, and it could be because of you and your relationship. He doesn't feel that connection, but it could also be because he's just not in a place in his life where he's ready to commit, or he has other issues with himself.
So what do you recommend when you're with a person like that? Do you and they say, look, I just don't want to make a commitment right now, and so many women will say, okay, that's fine, and they'll wait, they'll stay in the relationship, and they'll say, well, you know, maybe in a year he'll be ready to commit. Should you run?
I think you should run, because oftentimes the type of guy that says this still isn't ready in 6 or 7 years, and then there's the sunk cost of all those years you've already put into the relationship, and so, I mean, it can be even more complicated the longer you've stayed.
All right, there's the risk taker.
The risk taker. So the risk taker is a funny one because he pursues very high adrenaline activities. So he might be like a skier or some kind of extreme sporty guy. So that seems like a lot of fun, but the problem with the risk taker is that he also takes risks in his relationship. So he wants those emotional highs and lows. He loves to fight and then make up. And that's really not a healthy and safe and supportive relationship for women to be in.
The mean guy.
The mean guy. Everybody knows someone who's been in a relationship with a mean guy, or they've been in a relationship with this kind of guy. He says nice things sometimes, but most of the time there's just a hint of negativity in what he says to you. He makes you feel insecure, he makes you feel low about yourself, and he's a little bit controlling and possessive as well.
Kind of the tough guy.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not a good position for women to be in, and I'd say that's probably the worst kind of guy to be with.
And then the slacker, the guy who's 45 and he still lives at his mother's house.
Yes, this is the type of guy that you would see, like, I mean, everyone went to school with a slacker as well. This is the kind of guy that's like never doing his homework. He's always in dreamland, and now he's 45. He's still living at home with mom in the basement, trying all kinds of ideas and trying to search for jobs, and he's just not making it.
Don't do it, ladies. Just say no. Kimberly Moffit, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll be right back with much more Let's Talk Live.